Thank you very much for staying with Facing the Nation. Of course, you know, we usually have that update from the University of Guyana sometimes four or five times a year. I keep telling you that I love it because it's one of the things that came along with Vice Chancellor Ivelaw Griffith, Professor Ivelaw Griffith, in terms of giving you information. So when you hear the country's highest learning institution in the news, it's not only about the negative things, even though there's some negatives floating around there. I'll get that out of the way first thing before he goes into the development. You know, we had an update earlier in the year where we got information on new faculties. So I'm very anxious to hear what is happening at the University of Guyana. The beautiful thing is today, the Vice Chancellor is also accompanied not only by the Deputy Dean of Education and Humanities, but he is also accompanied by one student for now. We're expecting another one soon. Professor Griffith, welcome back to Facing the Nation.
Delighted to be here and look forward to a conversation with your colleagues.
All right, great. And welcome to Miss Carol Lord for the first time to Facing the Nation. Of course, she's no stranger to Guyana. She is the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Education and Humanities. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Great. And welcome to student, Mr. Yonnick David. He is in third year international relations student, who I know has a lot to say too. VC, I want to start off with you just to set the tone of the conversation in context. Before you go into developmental aspects and so on, you have been in the news for some negatives recently, and I'm going to use your words in terms of a response. Things that are basically designed to malign and hurt not only your image, but the image of the University of Guyana, and of course, by extension, the senior staff and the students. I'm not sure how much of it you want to delve into because it tends to, back and forth tends to get a bit nasty, but the ball is in your court.
Well, let me say two things. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity again to have the conversation and thank the viewers for the opportunity to help understand some context and some content that is different than what they may have been reading in the news. Many people have asked me, why did I wait so long to respond? I'll tell you why. It doesn't help any university that is trying to rebrand and rebuild to engage in a tit for tat. And so it also doesn't help me as a Vice Chancellor to descend to any low common denominator. So I took a conscious decision that we will selectively, periodically offer clarifications, but not to this back and forth.
Understood.
But then the recent egregious misinformation for me was the bridge too far. To say that there is no paper toilet, no soap at the university, to say that their Vice Chancellor spent $400,000 on a dinner for 8 people, to say that the salaries of the executives have tripled between 2013 and 2018 without understanding the context. I thought it was important to end the silence and to clarify. So that's a little bit about why so long and why now. In 2013, one example, our university had one Vice Chancellor, one Deputy Vice Chancellor, one bursar, one personal officer, one registrar, part of the executive. The university had a study done by a group called Hamilton and Associates in 2012. That study said that for the University of Guyana's size, it was not doing justice to its leadership by having such a small leadership cohort. The Hamilton report recommended 4 Deputy Vice Chancellors, among other enhancements. Talked about salaries that needed to be enhanced, talked about facilities that needed to be enhanced, but talked about the leadership that needed to be strengthened. 2016, Nigel Harris became Chancellor. He had a transformation task force that built on what the Hamilton report did and said and looked towards the future. And one of the things in that report is when we have a new Vice Chancellor, we need to ask the new Vice Chancellor to take some of the things in the Hamilton report under advisement and take them forward. So when I came in 2016 June, in a couple of months, mindful of what I had as a vision for the university, mindful of what I saw in the Hamilton report, I proposed a modification of the leadership structure. including a new Deputy Vice Chancellor for Planning and International Engagement, a new Deputy Vice Chancellor for Philanthropy, Alumni, and Civic Engagement, and a Director of Strategic Initiatives. In other words, the number of individuals in that group of executives increased. So it is not true to say that if you look at the figures for emoluments in 2013 and compare them to 2018 without understanding the context, it is not that the people in 2018 were making 3 times the amount of money, it's the number of people had grown. We're going to be putting out a long explanatory statement that helps the public to understand. That is just one of the things that I thought is important not to remain silent on, because silence sometimes has a way. It's a risk that I consciously took. That some people who don't understand the broader nuances might just believe what they read.
Well, I trust that what you put out eventually, and you know, I noticed it didn't happen with the letter that you did send to the editor, but I trust that eventually it gets the same amount of traction, especially on social media, that the negatives would have gotten. All right, we're going to move on to the positives now in terms of what is happening, and I'd like to start with you, Ms. Lord, Deputy Dean of Faculty of Education and Humanities. What would you want students and the public at large, potential students to know about what is going on in that faculty at this time, in terms of improvements, developments, and so on?
I have been with the University of Guyana since 2011. I've started there part-time, and then I came on full-time as a lecturer within the Faculty of Education and Humanities. Recently, last August, I became the Deputy Dean of the faculty. And I have to say, thank you, I have to say that there's a different experience that you get when you teach and when you're in administration. And then having a combination of both teaching and administration is quite interesting. It doesn't get boring at all. I'm sure a lot of people are aware that there are challenges at the University of Guyana, but there are a lot of things that we have been working on. I'm pretty happy that our students are quite involved in a number of activities within the university, apart from just academic activities. We know we recently had the undergraduate research. Both staff and students have been a part of that. Our interfaculty athletic competition, our students have been quite active in that. Some staff members have participated as well. We're quite an active faculty, again, on a daily basis. I think the thing about it is that every job has its challenges. For everybody, you have your good days and your bad days. Yes. And I always count myself fortunate and lucky to be able to say that I love my job. It's not a perfect place to work, but for me, it's one of the best places to work. There are a number of things that I find to be quite flexible. There are a lot of things in terms of the working environment that make you feel welcome to be creative, be imaginative, be inventive, be active and proactive. And I find that the leadership of the university has contributed to that. The right leader helps any institution, any organization, not just the University of Guyana, to grow and to build on and to continue to develop the work that they've been doing. And I find that we have been able to continually do that within the faculty and the university and the wider context. There are a number of matters that we address on a daily basis, and I don't know if there's anything specific that you'd prefer to get into.
No, that's fine, because I know
I'd like to ask her to
you.
go a couple of specifics, because one of the things I'm excited about in education and humanities is a new degree program on youth work and development. I'd love to hear the Dean say a little bit about that.
Yeah, because I just got a sketch of it earlier in the year, so that is a good place to go.
Yeah, so that's one of our new programs as well, Youth and Community Development. We now offer a bachelor's in that. It is a blended program that will be done both online and face-to-face on campus, so it gives students a bit of opportunity to be flexible in their study arrangements. We've begun to take in applications and registration for that program, and we have students who will begin in, I believe it is June. So they'll start in the summer period for the program in terms of the teaching, and those courses will be done online.
That is indeed interesting, because I'm going to ask you next is, do you find that you just said that you're getting the applications are coming in for it. Do you find that now that the applications have started to come in for that there was somewhat of a vacuum? Is there like a need, a desperation for it? Is it like, oh, finally this is here?
I can tell you, even from the time that we had consultations in the development of the program, we had tremendous support, not only from ministries, but also from community-based organizations, even from religious-based, faith-based organizations. There was a lot of overwhelming support, indicating what the needs are, indicating specifically what they want to see come out of the program, and we've used that and made that input into the design of the program. And as the applications come in, I think what we struggled with a little bit was just the qualifications of the persons who were coming into the program. We wanted to ensure that these persons were people who were already working at some point in youth or community development in some way, so that we're really contributing specifically to the areas that have the need. And we have recognized that in many of the applications. I think because of the period of the application that we started taking in since January, actually, applications were open since then.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people weren't prepared to do it at that time, because September is usually when that new teaching cohort starts. So we didn't see as many as we really wanted to, but it's still open to have a bigger intake, yeah.
All right,
but we
great.
did have a lot of interest and support even in that process.
All right, thanks. Let me just take the opportunity to welcome Miss Nirvanie Sugdeo, and she's a student. Here
Let me
at
correct
Nirvanie.
myself, because I should have said Nirvanie is a recent graduate.
She's a recent graduate. Okay,
Proud recent
apologies and congratulations. Thank you for coming and
very
facing the nation. Well, both of you, I'm going to begin. Viewers, I know it's usually ladies before gent, but I'm going to break the rule this once. I'm going to give Nirvanie some time to breathe. Yonnick, I want to begin with you. And you recently traveled to, as an international relations student, and I think this is very interesting because you recently traveled to Costa Rica,
Yes.
and then you were in Colombia.
Colombia.
At this time, especially where Guyana is going, not only in terms of youth, but in terms of the development of education, is there anything that you would have experienced or seen that you would want to talk about specifically that Guyana can probably use as well the best or worst practices for our own development, especially in terms of both in both areas, education and youth development?
Definitely. It was traveling to Costa Rica and Colombia. It was quite interesting for me because ironically they're both Spanish-speaking countries. Guyana developing, I think, needs to tap in more into its Latin American market, and I felt like traveling there opened my eyes to how important it is to open up Guyana to the culture of Latin America and also the language. The language barrier was incredible. Costa Rica, we were there for the Organization of American States Model Conference, and the entire conference was done in Spanish.
Wow.
And just the fact that we are part of an organization with the majority of its members being Spanish speakers, and Spanish isn't something that's mandatory for our students, whether in high school or university. It was definitely an eye-opener. And all the students that were there agreed that we should take our language interests to a higher level. In Colombia, we were able to meet with the director for their academy for diplomats. There's an academy for diplomats there. So before you work in the foreign ministry, you have to pass through this academy. And they only select 30 students per year. And out of the 30, they select 35, and out of the 35, only 20 make it. They were very interested in doing exchange programs with our university here. Again, obviously, because we are part of the same region, we have a geographical advantage of having access to the Atlantic Ocean. So there's a lot of interest for economic development for Guyana, for cultural development for Guyana, and educational development for Guyana within the region.
Perfect. VC, before I go to Nirvanie, I just want to put you back into the conversation here. Listening to Yonnick, and he's talking about the opportunities that are there. when there are these conferences and students go on, whether chosen or they choose themselves to go on the conferences and so on, along with lecturers, are you seeing it as an opportunity? Because one of the things you would have been big on from the time you started coming on this program, I think in 2016, you're always big on pushing branding the University of Guyana internationally. Do you see these trips as opportunities, and what sort of opportunities can you use or take advantage of to further brand the University of Guyana internationally?
Not only are there opportunities, there are necessities.
Okay.
And it's partly because there are necessities. There's an element in education and humanities that I want to plug. We had, July last year, we had a consultation on world languages because we need to strengthen our Spanish. We need to strengthen our Portuguese. We need to strengthen the Mandarin. We've been talking about introducing Dutch. Only yesterday I met with one of the lecturers who joined us, had been teaching at UD for years, left, Dr. Rosalind Khan. She's one of the people who we hired as part of the efforts to increase Spanish. We have the dubious distinction of having too many part-time lecturers. So we need to increase the number of full-time people who teach the Spanish and the Portuguese. We have a gentleman who came all the way from Angola.
We have, by the way.
Yes.
We have.
All the way from Angola to help strengthen our Portuguese. So we are increasing the muscle strength to be able to do those languages. But we also made a conscious decision in relation to the School of Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation that it's mandatory for every graduate to have at least one language other than English. And we've said that it's got to be, for now, we've offered options of Portuguese, Mandarin, and Spanish. But I do know that in international relations, it's mandatory for language.
Yes, for the first year.
So we've got to find a way, and I'm delighted to know that in a dentistry school, they're interested in having Spanish as one of the options in the first instance, but then going on to be mandatory. And the point that Yonnick made is an absolutely important point, and I've said it from the time I got here. UG is not only in Guyana, which is connected to the Caribbean, but we are what we are. We are South American.
Yeah.
And so we've got to be able to use that facility, use that leverage, enable our people not only to be comfortable with a different language, but to see that you're trying to stay only in an English zone is not where the world is moving. You go to certain parts of Guyana, you go to Maria, you go to Bartica, you go to Womadadong. You don't find one language, you find 5, 6 languages. And I'm talking about only the indigenous languages. There are places in Bartica which, if you don't understand some Portuguese, and I understand some Portuguese, you don't get proper service. So the necessity for us to have a platform that scales up and scales out languages is quite important.
Okay, all right. And our time is going, Nirvanie. I still haven't forgotten you. But Yonnick, again, feeding off of what VC said, you talked about in Costa Rica in terms of the language. I know they would have had translators and so on. How did you? No, not really. How did the UG students, our students, how did they navigate that?
For the first half day, we had professional translators. Afterwards, we were given students, but that didn't work out pretty well. Luckily, it's a conference, so we were all separated into our different attack groups. You eventually get to learn what is being spoken about, and you're able to attack it well. We dominated across the board. All our resolutions were accepted, so the language did not prove to be a problem. We also, one of our students got Best Speaker for the General Assembly. So once again, language did not prove a problem. We were able to get our messages across, and we were able to do it very well.
Perfect. Nirvanie, I'm going to pull you in now. Your experience in the undergraduate program, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk because the time is going, so I just want to hear your full experience and how you encourage potential.
Okay, so my experience at the undergraduate was incredible. There was a team of 4 of us that presented from UT, and the moment I arrived at Kennesaw State University, it was probably one of the best experiences I've had so far. And it does not come from just the presentations that they were doing, but it was actually the excitement and the attitude of the staff and the other students and their engagement. I'm very proud about the work that we did so far. So I would just like to give a little bit of experience that I've had. when I presented at the conference, the feedback that I got, they were astonished and surprised to know that Guyanese persons can be able to do this quality of work and caliber of work. Some of them even asked me, are you sure you're from undergraduate level or are you from the PhD level? So that is something that I'm very, very much proud about. The event was exceptional. It consisted of poster presentations, oral presentations, art exhibitions, indoor activities, house tours. So it was a full-packed program, and it was definitely something that I enjoyed the most. And since our time is going, I just want to bring out one of the importance of research that I'm very proud of for our OUR and our Vice Chancellor as well, is international recognition. And it is very important as researchers and students to get international recognition for ourselves and for the university, because what this could lead to is accreditation of programs. I'm sure our Vice Chancellor mentioned this already. So I would just like to encourage students as well to take part in the research projects, to go out, present, and take part in all of the opportunities that the OUR have to offer, because it's outstanding.
Great. Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
VC, I am going again. Well, we have about 5 minutes left. So,
I'll take one of those 5 minutes.
No problem. And again, because of time, right, feel free to jump in. I don't know if Yonnick would have anything that he would want to say, or Nirvanie.
Trust me, Yonnick has stuff to say.
I get that. He's on my social media. But that's another conversation. I'm going to start with you, Carol. What else would you want to get in the
two things I
public
wanted to feedback off of is I'm happy that Vice Chancellor did the plug as well, because I wanted people to know that even though we're called Education and Humanities, a lot of people don't realize that we do a lot in the faculty, not just in terms of modern creative arts, but we do in languages as well. And so we have a lot of language service courses, and I'm happy that Yonnick mentioned that, because when he said that, I completely agreed with him in terms of one of the things that has disappointed us is we've seen unfavorable numbers intake in our language programs, even in some of our art programs as well. And I can't say specifically if that is as a result of people's loss of interest in it, or whether the program is not as attractive as it should be, but I know that it's quite important area, and I'm happy that we now have courses that other faculties will come and take advantage of, because usually our education students who are teachers and teaching in different languages are the persons who will take advantage of those courses. And so it's important for us to know that that this is something that's available to us through the University of Guyana. As well, I wanted to mention that I'm quite happy that students were able to travel and present their research, undergraduate research. I remember when VC first came to the university, his very first year here, within probably the first month of his time there, he visited the faculty in one of our faculty board meetings, and I recall that one of the things that he encouraged us to do is to get involved in undergraduate research. He did say that that's one of the things he'll be establishing at the university, is a unit which will focus specifically on output for undergraduate research, and he's done so. And it's something that I'm very proud of, to see our students be able to participate in, see our staff take a really big interest in. And I think it speaks volumes to the kind of work, not just in talk, but in implementation and action, and even evaluation after, of what we do at the University of Guyana and how we do it. So I think it speaks a lot, yeah.
Perfect. VC, your turn.
Well, I want to pick up on two things from Nirvanie's observations. The first of which is to say that the university didn't pay for any housing for those students. We didn't pay for any local transportation for those students. I called on some of our education resource ambassadors in Georgia. I said, you need to take care of these students and be lecturing with them. They not only took care of the hotel, they met them at the airport with a banner.
Oh, nice.
They gave them a social experience of Guyanese in Georgia. I think you went to a brunch.
Yes, that is
They
the
went to
Guyana
lunch.
Association of Georgia.
And
really, really strong.
the last message I got was when they were seeing them off. I got a text that said, Vice Chancellor, they're now going through security. I think that is a testament to the fact that what we're doing in the Renaissance program is to say, let's get the diaspora involved. Let's find a way to build the bridges and enable the partnerships to happen. The second thing I would say is that I'm delighted that having established a program, we decided that we needed to be part of the international community. So we joined something called the Council on Undergraduate Research. By joining that council, we became eligible for the other international undergraduate research activities, one of which occurs in a few weeks in Germany. It's the World Congress on Undergraduate Research, held every 2 years. So I said, let's put in a bid. 7 of our students are going to Germany next month. Miss Pamela Rose. All the expenses are paid for by, once they accept you, your abstract, they pay for your travel, they pay for your accommodation, they pay for the only thing our students and the lecturer have to cover is the visas. Because in arranging the travel, Germany has arranged for the group to go through the US and Britain. So we got to get US visas and we got to get UK visas. That's the only expenses. But each of those students, Nirvanie including, when they return, they will return up with a variety of enhancements, academic and social.
And it's a domino effect because they
Yep.
can pass on what they've learned.
Absolutely.
VC, unfortunately, and guests, other guests. So I said I don't call VC a guest anymore. Every time he comes, I change his attachment. So today, sometimes he's a brother to the show. Today, he's an uncle to the show. Unfortunately, our time is gone, but I want to thank all of you for coming. Of course, viewers, if you're now tuning in, you missed a really interesting conversation. Of course, subsequently, it will be loaded to both my YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Thank you very much to you all. Ms. Nirvanie Sugdeo, recent graduate. Mr. Yonnick David, third year international relations student. Ms. Carol Lord, Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Education and Humanities, and of course, Vice Chancellor Professor Ivelaw Griffith. Once again, thank you all for coming on Facing the Nation.
Thank you for
All
having us.
right, great. Viewers, unfortunately, that is all the time I have with you this week. Yes, the time has come and gone by so quickly. Again, just to remind you about the government reaching the people, that outreach is on the next one is on Sunday. It begins at 10 a.m. It's at the Lenora, or some people say Leonora, others say Lenora, it's the same thing. Synthetic track. It begins at 10 to 2, and after 2, the government ministers will be doing extensive outreach in the region, and there's also one coming up that's going to be in Linden on Tuesday. But of course, you will get all of the details as the days go by. Again, thank you so very much for always tuning in to Facing the Nation. Thanks to all my guests, including Mr. Ganesh Paul, who was here earlier. I'm Malika Ramsey, reminding you to be good Guyanese citizens. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and of course, this has been Facing the Nation.